wants to start off? Are you guys all beat and ready to
I
get
do,
home?
actually. How's the transition from a social atmosphere from 8th grade to 9th grade? Because going from, the middle school and I know they're gonna be with all their friends, but how do the kids get acclimated with, being in school with a bunch of other upperclassmen and stuff?
Personally, I was here in the 8th grade, so coming into high school, I was a little timid. I was like, oh my gosh, like a new environment. But my brother, who actually graduated last year, he was a sophomore when I was a freshman. So coming in, and even for all of your children who have been here for a while, they were in classes with the 7th and 8th graders when they were 6th graders. So a lot of the faces are very familiar. They are, it's a lot different than going to a big public school where you have 500 new people that you don't know, and then plus the 3 other grade levels. So really it wasn't as scary of a transition as I personally thought it would be. A lot of the faces were familiar, and right off the bat you have something like advising, which we'll talk about, which is all grade levels. I got acclimated really with other grade levels through sports, through clubs, through just about anything. Smiling face in the hallway, hi, it's nice to meet you. So it's not as bad as a timid freshman might think it would be.
Randy Doss tells the story of when his daughter was a 9th grader. She came home one night, and she's probably going to kill me if I'm saying this in front of you guys. But she was all excited because a junior had spoken to her. And it just, and those things happen all the time here, but that kind of excitement, sometimes we have to remind ourselves what it's like to be a 9th grader in a new environment with people we may not be as familiar with.
Yeah, and I think another thing is that the change is not nearly as drastic as you might think it will be. As on a personal level, I think the change is incredibly drastic. It changes your entire personality per se, but on a more social plane, not really. I have the same friends that I had when I came here in the 8th grade, for the most part, give or take a few new people. But I also have gained new friendships through my advising program, or the advising program, not mine. My advisor is Dr. Swinton. She is one of the Spanish teachers here, and you are assigned an advisor as soon as you get into the upper school. So that is a person that will be with you all 4 years and will serve as a mentor and a guide, academically and a bit socially as well. If you need any help with anything, like you're having a bad day personally for various reasons, they are there to talk to you. They're a shoulder to cry on if necessary, or somebody to celebrate with if you have just, say, gotten a really high score on a test or anything. They're there to support you. So
If you finally get to school on time for a whole semester, all those things. Now, I liked what you were saying in one of the other sessions, Kennedy, about kind of how your role has shifted in your advising group since you're with 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. Speak on that a little.
So when I first came here in 9th grade, I thought all the seniors would be as Lily has so well put it, fresh meat. We will eat you alive. And that is not the case at all. Actually, a lot of the seniors in my advising, they were very nice. And I knew a couple of them already due to one of them had tutored me and she introduced me to some of her friends. But as a senior myself now, I don't want to see any of your children go through any of that because I feel like that'd be awful, first of all. But second of all, we're all friends. Through the advising program, we get to know each other really well. And there are some programs now where we talk about gratitude like we did today, or our feelings, or how to have difficult conversations. So through that, I've taken a lot of people under my wing per se, helping them through anything that maybe a teacher isn't perfect for, but as a classmate and a friend, I can really be there for them. So
I will say too, kind of as Kennedy was saying earlier, I agree too that a lot of things stay the same, but for me, a lot of things changed. I was just talking to a parent when I was walking them down the stairs about kind of fear of cliques being the same, kind of the social atmosphere, and I will say things definitely do change. You meet a lot of people in the upper class, a lot more people come in, so Mr. Billingsley was saying an average of maybe 15 students will come in, so things aren't entirely the same, and change a lot of the time is good. So
Yeah, I have seen, and maybe as a distance, but I've seen as our kids grow up and figure out who they are in a little more refined way, some of their friendships may shift. They may find a group of people with shared interests, and it's not that they're not friends with the other people, but I can see some of the focus and who people are studying with shifts. And we do bring in a number of new students in 9th and 10th grade as well. So there's always, sometimes 11th grade, on the rare occasion, but there's always a new face too. And I know a lot of times our students that have been here for a long time get worried that it's going to be the same thing all over again. There is a new life infused into the upper school, and I think even the sense of your children having slightly more freedoms, more and more as they get older, it gives them that renewed sense of this place is a little bigger and a little more exciting, and there's things that I don't know. I remember that moment when I was in middle school, when I finally figured out how the maze of the building worked. And instead of feeling great about it, I got disappointed because there was no more mystery. And we want your kids to feel like there's always something new to learn and experience. And from what I've seen, until maybe about the middle to end of their senior year, they feel that way. And it's really normal for them to start feeling like that towards the end of their senior year.
So, my son, well, all the 8th graders came and visited the school, upper school the other day, and I think most of them really enjoyed it. Is there an opportunity where they'll have a chance to talk on a social level to like 9th or 10th graders that have been here before? Like, I didn't know if you had some formal, informal program, like towards the end of the 8th grade where you have 9th and 10th graders kind of team up in like little groups and talk to them about things that they can expect or change or see.
No, that didn't happen last year, but that sounds like a good idea. Particularly in the spring, there's always so much going on, and I know there's the 8th grade trip and.
Well, and one of the things that I've offered to every group is that if any of your children have specific things that they want to know more about on a social level or a extracurricular level, we can connect them with students. That's not a problem. Or if they want to come back without all of their classmates and take a look, there's several 8th graders that make it, they just can't walk outside after going to the bookstore. They just wander through our building a little bit, so they're curious.
I just know that if I did that to my son, he'd be mortified. But if it was something y'all brought, y'all said, hey, we're going to team up, like a couple guys and girls from 9th and 10th grade and talk to these 6 or 7.
I like the idea, and I would maybe even, we try a lot intentionally to make sure that our 8th graders are invited to some of our upper school events, appropriate ones, pep rallies, or, to make sure that if we're doing the International Food Night, sports, those kinds of things, so that it's happening in a natural way, so mom's not pushing anyone.
I just know that, in society in general, there's a lot going on, and last year we had our own challenges here, and I know some of the 8th graders know, I think some of them may be apprehensive. I just would like for them to feel comfortable and know, and the ones that have been in sports do know some upper schoolers, but they practice together and things like that. I just think.
Yeah, and we can talk after if there's little ways that I can, without your son knowing.
My son's so laid back, he's like, whatever,
Yeah.
I'm just saying in general, he wouldn't want me to say, go talk to so-and-so ever.
Right.
Could you even send a couple of 9th and 10th graders to their advising sessions?
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that, yeah.
They have their advising things.
Absolutely,
I
I
think we
like
do
that.
that occasionally when we have things that we want to branch out to the middle school, such as Saga or SDLC Junior, actually. That is one way that we've actually outreached to the middle school. And so we sometimes go down over there and say, hey.
And boys on the ball and girls for girls.
Or even like part of the lunch one day.
Yeah.
Right.
Have a few go and have, sit down.
Yeah.
That way they won't think they're going to go to a place like Ferris Bueller's Day Out.
Right. It's not like
Fast
that.
Times at Ridgemont High.
Right, or what was that other horrible one where
Mean
took
Girls.
place in the
or-
70s?
Yeah.
Dazed and Confused. There was a horrible hazing scene at the end of that.
Can I just throw in, because I also have a boy, you guys are terrific and I appreciate
Yeah.
you being here, but it'd be great to see some male
Yeah.
faces that are familiar
Sure.
to them and.
I know we could definitely convince, not even need to convince some of our guys. And I do want to say too, I know we have 2 females here tonight, but when I look at our executive student council, we're really evenly balanced as far as leadership of male and female. And I know there's been a lot of conversation in the world lately about so many women in college, and our boys are really, everyone matures at a different rate, but our boys are equally involved in activities and in leadership positions, and I think, the things that Kennedy and Lily are saying would hold true for any of the young men in our school too.
It's definitely not one-sided. Like Mrs. Ford was saying, our executive student council is split half girls and half guys. All of the guys participate in a number of clubs and sports, so it's definitely.
Yeah, a lot of them also do theater as well, so there's not that divide of, it's only for girls and gay guys and stuff like that, so.
When I think about, I have one that just graduated, it's really not a lack of things to do in upper school, it's almost how do we help them balance and pick the right things, right? So I think that, you know, of Luke's experience, there's athletics, there's arts, there's theater, there's everything for them to do. So do you work with them too on that? Because now it seems that these children are so, you know,
Yeah.
there's 3 lacrosse teams and there's, you know.
And then you want to sail, and then you, right. like-
Correct. I mean, you know.
So has anyone ever told you you're doing too much?
Yes.
And
Um,
part of what I've tried to express to the students is that I don't want us to be an institution that checks boxes.
Right.
And again, some of it is, you know, we have to work with you because it's competitive
Yep.
and everything is, you know, college, and if you don't do this, then how are you gonna make sure that you keep up? But at the same time, we are also worried about sleep, but then also what they're passionate about. Because there are a lot of times, we're just checking boxes and they don't even care about or recall what they've accomplished. And then the things that they're really passionate about sort of gets left by the wayside. And so, yes, we have those conversations. It's going to be a slow shift. You know, I had an opportunity to work with Kennedy and others in the musical last week.
I tell you. You did very well.
But it gave me an opportunity, because, you know, you hear about it and I talk to students, but I
You see
lived it.
Yep.
It's a very different experience.
I lived
living
it, and you know, Ms. Tutterow and I are already having conversations
It's
about
exhausting.
But you know,
Yes.
I want to do it
It's
all. I mean, it's
exhausting,
all
so I
wonderful.
Well, and I was gonna say, it's not, I don't think it's parents pushing kids,
No.
it's teachers pushing
Right.
kids, it's kids trying to figure out how to make choices.
Right.
And that is something that we talk about, because it's really hard to do it all. I haven't found out how to do it yet, so if any of you can.
So y'all
that
have a
would be
way
great.
of so my son's, he's a 13-year-old boy, and he will often take the easy way out. And may not, you know, really join that club. Or do y'all have ways of encouraging
Yes.
students to do things? And
Yes.
I'm not telling them they have to, but
No, no, no.
encouraging.
Yeah,
Encourage-
well, that's where, go ahead, I was gonna, that's where these kids come in.
So, I'm on the executive student council, and we every year host a club fair. So at the beginning of the year,
The more food gets, the best. Most people is what we heard
Yeah.
downstairs.
standing on
Yeah,
tables.
tables.
Standing on tables for the board game club this year. But I also think that some of our older students, they don't want their thing to go away, so they're really interested in getting younger kids involved to carry the torch.
Especially for theater, we are losing 9 seniors this year, and that is very scary. Out of a cast of 24, that's over a third. So we want people to also follow their passions, though. I think some of the best advice I've ever gotten is do what you love. Hence why I'm not in a sport, but you know, do whatever makes you happy, and don't worry so much about checking the boxes, because that stuff might come naturally, and when we get there, we'll worry about it. But as a freshman, just do what you're really passionate about. Yeah,
I
try
had a
it.
question over here.
Yeah, are you, I just wanted clarification, you're assigned an advisor, in addition to a college counselor?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And so your advisor will be with you all 4 years, and what will happen in that group is that seniors will graduate, 9th graders will come in, and so you'll always have a kind of shifting but core group of folks. And the advisor intentionally, it's set up so this is a person that your child will see 4 mornings a week, and they'll be able to look in their eye, and they get to know your kid. Even if it's for a 10-minute conversation, you start to know who's having that bad week, who may have been up too late studying. They're the person that you are gonna have conferences with along with your children. And so it's really, I would say Kennedy and Lily both have strong advisors that they've developed that relationship with, and they've continued to develop relationships with other faculty. But it is that one person that, we work hard to make the matches good, and
Can you
How
talk
do you
about
do
that?
that?
Because
Sure.
it seems like a really crucial part of the introduction process,
Yes.
so how do you do that?
So Kennedy said she got lucky with her advisor, but I would say it was a really good conversation that happened between the 8th grade team for us to get to know, and us is usually Bridget Gwinnett, the school counselor, and myself, to get to know who these kids are and what their needs might be and what your needs as parents might be. And I believe on their forms for class registration, they're like, feel free to give some information to your advisor, not about names. We don't want to know who, because you're going to know certain names, but you're not going to know the qualities of everybody. But if there's qualities that are important you think for your child to have in an advisor, or that you need as a parent, absolutely let us know that. We want to make a great match. I'm going to tell you, they don't always work out 100% of the time. We encourage students to stick with someone. We try to get them to stick there for the first year, and if it's not working, we'll take changes.
Yeah, there is a form that comes out every year if you would like to change your advisor, because, as she said, we want you guys to, or we want the freshmen rather, to have the best mentor possible and to really get that advisor experience.
I just wanted to say too, it's not just your advisor who's your support system.
Yes.
And I mentioned this to the past two groups. For me, really what's been critical is my teacher kind of student relationships with a lot of my teachers. They really look out for you in the way that they'll offer extra help during the day, during lunch, during your free period after school. They really want you to succeed. And for me, like I have mentioned multiple times, Mara Montana, who works with the Executive Student Council, was my 11th grade English teacher. She's someone who, outside of my house, I feel like I could go to. Like if I'm having a bad day, if I need someone to talk to, really just anything, I feel like the faculty support system here has been really great for me. And kind of adding on to what you were saying earlier about like your son and like reaching out and doing like things, it's really kind of, for freshmen at first, I remember thinking like, oh, like what will people think of me if I do this? Like what if I like push back on this like social kind of thing? Like what if I do this but my friends aren't doing this? Because you make so many friends that are upperclassmen, a lot of the friends that you're going to make share a lot of the common interests that you do. So even if it's not like, you'll find your way around. As like cliche as it sounds, you kind of find your place in the high school.
And of course, that doesn't necessarily mean you stick with that one group all the time. We have plenty of people who do the sports and theater, or who do visual arts and are also great mathematicians and such. So it's never just like cliques or anything, but you
Science
do
Olympiad
and theater and chorus and such.
So how do the sports work if someone, you know, if you haven't really ever played a sport, if you want to try something? What are those kind of opportunities, and are there any restrictions for particular sports?
So I manage the varsity boys basketball team, and I also play varsity girls lacrosse. And for me, I went in my freshman year, had never played lacrosse before. I was actually a track runner like all through middle school. I loved running track, and I was just like, I kind of want to change of scene. So I joined the lacrosse team. All of the girls, the upperclassmen especially, they taught me how to cradle, they taught me like ground balls and everything. And now I will say lacrosse for me, Mrs. Bagdon, who is one of the assistant coaches, it has been amazing. I love my team more than anything. Last year, the senior girls who were on the lacrosse team were like my sisters, also partially because my brother was in their grade. But it's been a really, really good way for me. And it's super welcoming and inclusive. That goes for any sport. Like basketball, you could go in never having played a single thing, or for me, managing basketball, because by no means can I play basketball. Watching like the guys that play, everyone is just so welcoming and willing to teach you how to learn to play that sport.
You might not play varsity basketball on the first
Oh,
day.
yeah.
You've never played before. There are opportunities in a lot of sports. And I've watched a lot of our international students who've never even been exposed to a sport before join a team. So it looks like there's ways to get involved, and new cheerleaders and new basketball players. So that's been heartening for me to see, because it wasn't that way in my high school. You competed for a spot on whatever team.
So two things quickly before we close. So back to the advisor question. Last year, I took over in the spring, I took over the advisory because unfortunately, one of our faculty members became ill and had to be out for an extended amount of time. And so I inherited 4 freshmen and 1 junior. And of course, they were not thrilled to have the upper school director as their advisor. And this was, I guess,
Now we can't tear them away from him.
I was gonna say, they weren't very smart, because that's a good person to have in your back pocket.
So, right, by the time May rolled around, they came to me like, are you gonna give us, because I was not playing, I was just a fill-in, and they said, you're gonna keep us, right? You're gonna, and each person came back and said, we wanna stay, and so I talked to Ms. Ford and Ms. Gwinnett, and while it is tough on my schedule, the relationship that we formed, and it really started from care and concern, and of course, as the upper school director, you know, it's kind of like, you're my kids, like, you need to do it the right way all the time, and they also understand that sometimes, you know, membership has its privileges, and so it's a great experience, not only for me, because it helped me not only get to know them and their families, but get to know their peers, and it really helped my transition here to the upper school. And then second, some of you've already done it, but who your child is as an 8th grader, gonna be light years away when they're a senior.
Thank God.
And, and it is a process. Trust